I lead the playwriting workshops here at OCT, and this time the focus of the playwriting workshop was protest plays. We called it Message in a Bottle, Writing Plays of Protest. The message, the bottle is the play, right, that you throw out, and you know, it often contains a very desperate message. The reason we decided to use this focus this time was that a lot of people were coming up to me, playwrights, saying, after the election, what do we write about? How do we deal with this? What's the next step? I can't even look at the news anymore. And so I've had the idea, well, let's just get together in a room, and you know, protest plays have been around since the beginning of plays, you know, and so the Greeks and everybody after them, you know, there's always a political, social element. There has been for the history of theater, and so
Lysistrata,
right? And personally, I had a resistance I've always had a resistance to cause plays. You know, plays that you know, pick a cause, a message that the playwright wants to deliver, and hits that nail on the head in such a way as to really kind of dissipate all dramatic, you know, possibility, conflict, whatever. It's just like, oh yeah, I know what you're saying, I agree, you know, preaching to the choir. And so I thought it would be good for me too, to sit down with people and see how, you know, look at some plays that are specifically protest plays. They're being called problem plays, issue plays, and see what we could come up with. You know, and there's this concept in theater of catharsis. And really, this class has been cathartic for probably everybody in the class. And I've been kind of amazed by the work that's been coming, the passion of the work that's been coming out of the playwrights. So you're in for a real treat. And so let me just say a little bit more. I'm sorry I'm talking a lot. But the way we approached the problem of problem plays was to look at some video recordings of protest plays and read some protest plays. We looked at El Teatro Campesino. We looked at what else? Some other videos that we looked at. Oh, some South African plays that dealt with, you know, apartheid issues. Very intense, dramatic, theatrical productions that had no relationship to the kind of realism that American theater is largely based in. And so that kind of gave us license to go wild with our work and just express it loudly and theatrically. And then, so we looked at that kind of stuff. And then we also looked at the other end of the spectrum, plays that are based in realism but deal with social issues or political issues. We read parts of Time Stands Still by Donald Margulies, and or however you say his name. I never know how to say something. So the students worked in a variety of styles, and in one exercise I gave them, I asked them to work in both styles at the same time, the agitprop and the realism on stage at the same time. Do we have an example of one of those? I'm not sure. Yes, we do. So,
could you define agitprop?
agitprop It's a Soviet term for theater that is aimed at agitation, and propaganda. Agitation, propaganda, agitprop. And so proponents or practitioners of that are what?
So it's like tweeting.
Like tweeting. Perfect. It's tweeting theater. It's like Bertolt Brecht was like a perfect example of agitprop. And these, like El Teatro Campesino, search the internet for some examples of El Teatro Campesino performing their plays, and they're like, they have masks and they have signs hanging from their necks saying who they are, like big business or whatever it is, racist rancher, and so it's just over the top, in your face, theater that's just, it's exciting to watch, and it's really preaching to the choir, but it's also, like Brecht did these teaching or learning plays where the idea was to bring these political, social ideas to specific people who needed to learn, who he thought needed to learn these ideas. So that's what we're working with. And that's what you're going to see. We have 7 plays tonight by people who were in the workshop. I do want to say a couple of announcements first. This Saturday, March 11th at 2 p.m. Are the Swan Day readings right here. These are plays written about women in history, and there will be, it's free to the public, but there will be, donations will be accepted to Ophelia's plays. So that's a wonderful thing. It's done, we do this every year in conjunction with Northwest 10. And then Northwest 10 is coming up. The performance dates are March 16th through 27th, so we hope you'll come and see that. And this is the order in which we'll be reading these plays. And typically what we do is we just have a concert-style reading. We'll have somebody reading the stage directions, and no props or sound effects or lighting or whatever. But I told because of the material that we're presenting here, I told the playwrights that they could fudge a little bit and have some fun with this. So you didn't get the memo.
Fudge is loud.
Okay, so
You were out that day.
that's right. So we'll have Rachael Carnes first, her play 91st and Powell Boulevard. Rex Moody, Clown King Commander. Those are all spelled with K. Clown King Commander. Barbara Pope, The Ghost of Vienna. Ellen Chase, What to Do, What to Do. Sylvie Peterson, All the Way to the Horizon. Jessica Ruth Baker, In the Shadows. And Connie Bennett, Border Roulette. Connie couldn't be here tonight, but we'll be reading her play anyway. I'll introduce each playwright as they come up, and they will introduce their cast and say something about their play. I think Rachel is going to do it backwards. She's going to introduce her cast. You'll see the play, and then she'll say something about it.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so up first is Rachael Carnes, and next is Rex Moody after that. All right, and we have a comment?
Cell phones.
Cell phones, yes.
So if you haven't already turned off or silence your cell phones, now is the perfect time to do so.
And Rachel.
Thank you. Come on down, actors.
So hi, I'm Rachael Carnes. It's really been a pleasure to be in Paul's playwriting class. Thank you so much to Oregon Contemporary Theater for offering this wonderful community education program. Ellen, you're in this show, so come on. She missed that memo too. So. I'd like to just introduce my actors before we get started. Over here is Gino Franco, Russell Dyball, Kizzy Bentley, Jessica Ruth Baker, and Ellen Chase. So this play is called 91st and Powell Boulevard. 91st and Powell Boulevard. I'll let them do their thing, and then afterwards I'll say a couple of words. Thank you.
We
This
have
woman
a moral
should have given birth in a
obligation to make
delivery
our
business.
now.
Listen,
Victims
shelter
that the
volunteers
weather
are
was claimed.
overworked.
Take action, for God's sake.
The streets are clean, but
Baby
the
was
earth is
stillborn,
high
which is
roof.
terrible
Medical
under any
examiners are
Temporary
circumstances.
shelter
revealed
closed
that
to
the
her.
cause of the
Buildings
death
Mom is
everywhere
mentally ill
stillborn.
and
As
is
long
homeless.
as you
If you're
stay in your
outraged,
car,
help find a
your
solution
stylish
for
condo,
homeless pregnant women
Ready
who
with
find
the
quality
money.
streets.
Well,
This
It's
speaks more to
You've
the
never seen
homeless
her
issue
homeless.
in general.
Immoral raises in rent. We've done this to ourselves as a city.
When I go
Our
back
greed
home,
masks
I am
the
shocked.
crying.
You guys
that
picked
is
some
That's
sorry
not
city
people.
leaders. I think that's
Stop trying to
pride that
find the blame.
We
this
need
is
to
what
help
happens
those
when
people
residents
now.
force politicians to
Portland
say
is
yes
like
to
all
a city
to
that
blame.
refuses to
welfare
reach out to
projects
other
that
cities that
might
know how
pass
to deal with the
micro-investments
situation.
public art.
They find
Now
themselves.
a
Gee,
strike to take back
what is
control.
our
That's
world
what it
coming
is.
to?
Mentally ill woman gives birth and homeless
This
parents
How
cause
do you
baby
horrifying.
dies.
Not been
No
above
more
40
homeless
since
than-
December
Is no one
20th.
awake out there?
Listed as stillborn.
Quit blaming the government for
The
not doing
homeless
what you
problem was
want.
never
Be the
brought up in
change
the
you
election
want to
that I
see.
recall.
I feel that we are sort of lucky to be surrounded by some generous people and organizations that to hopefully
This is just
eliminate
awful.
their
Race
awful
to the
You
bottom.
have a
Third
warm
world
living room
country
not
are
being used
we?
tonight.
This is
Sometimes
awful,
available
but I have to
assistance is
ask.
hard to
Grace.
accept.
I
This
don't
is a
understand.
powerful
was
gift
heinous.
we all carry within.
Shame, fear of the
The
baby
first
being taken
responder
away.
sent a text
Acknowledgement
stating
of
the
the
baby
open
was
warm
breathing.
Mental
doors.
health all play in this horrific tragedy.
With all due respect
And
to
are
the
sent to the hospital
homeless
up to
woman,
72
she
hours.
clearly would not take care of
There
her
are only a
child.
few ways
Well,
folks
this event is
receive health care
tragic.
is when
It
they
happens
go to
They are
every
then
suicide.
day
seen by a
across the
hospital
towns of
psychologist.
America.
Look, I'm all about stand on your own.
Or are confronted by
While
law
we
enforcement doing
definitely
a welfare
need
check
to
They're
on
most
them.
likely only given a
Listen, do
referral
something.
Mental
or a follow-up
illness,
with an independent
PTS
psychologist.
tend to go hand in hand.
Are we even a human race?
At
This
that point, they are put
also
on a legal
highlights
hold.
CPS not doing its job and a
The
baby
healthcare
dying
system is
because of
overburdened
it.
with those that are mentally
A
ill.
baby is dead
Only
after
the
being
most
found with his
severe
homeless
cases
mother at a
are
Portland
ever
bus stop.
transferred
And
to
Found
people
January
that
9th.
have
Marks the
families
fifth death
forgotten
on
the
Portland Street
reasons
during the
we could
cold
never
weather this
understand.
year.
The child lived less than
At this
24
point,
hours and never had a
It is
name.
up to the individual to seek further treatment.
If you have ever had a loved one
And do not take
experiencing
prescribed
mental illness,
medication due to the
please,
side
Most of
effects.
these
help
folks
them.
A Portland
have
baby
health
is dead
insurance.
after being found last week in freezing temperatures
Or
with his homeless
people
mother in a
die
bus stop
of
along
exposure to
South
Maybe
first
they're
10
only
days of
average.
What is
2017.
sad is that
Not
these
to
folks
treat-
are
seek
our
treatment.
veterans. Story update. Mayor calls baby's death a damnation of our response
A
to
week
mental
after the
illness.
baby was found, it's still unclear whether he died of exposure hours after
then
being born
called
outdoors
911.
or was stillborn. But the circumstances of the child's death illustrate that much of the tragedy on Portland streets
Shortly
involves
before 6
untreated
a.m. on
mental
January 9th,
illness.
officers from the Portland
Seeing that
Police
the woman was
Bureau
barefoot in the
responded
living
to
room,
the alarming
the man
scene
pulled
at
her
its
reporter,
Church
Just the
Hill
details
bus
of
stop,
infants'
south
deaths
of
are
Church
found
Hill
on
Digital
their
Avenue
way
A
to
homeless
and
woman
Howard
pushing a
Boulevard.
shopping cart had opened her coat to show a man on his way to work that she held a newborn baby.
The birth occurred hours earlier, officers learned, and the baby had remained
Baby
outside
is
in weather that
conscious
hovered
and
around
breathing,
freezing.
but has been outside this
At the
entire
hospital,
time.
officers
Reads a
interviewed the
second
baby's mother.
text from the 911 operator. Baby is ice cold.
The text indicated the baby was alive.
An ambulance
Baby
rushed
was
the
born in a
child to
transient
Oregon
camp
Health and
near
Science
Chuck E.
University
Cheese,
Hospital.
the
As
text
two
Escorted
emergency
by a
room
squad
doctors
car
worked to
with
resuscitate
siren
the baby,
blaring.
records show. The police were told by the woman a disjointed story.
She said she had gotten pregnant.
By the miracle of Immaculate Conception. And she struggled to answer basic questions about her address,
Related.
ethnicity, or where the
Portland
baby
woman
was
who
born.
died of hypothermia was being evicted
While the
for
police
being
spoke to the
late
mother,
on
hospital staff continued to perform
$338 rent.
CPR, part of
It
a
was very
25-minute
clear to
effort
me
to
she
save the
was
child.
very mentally ill, the policeman on duty wrote in his report. Police tried to find out more about the circumstances of the
The
baby's
child
death,
was
but
born
The
immediately
medical
encountered
examiner ultimately
discrepancies.
is the one who tells
The
us
state medical
whether the
later
child
disagreed with
appears
OH's
to be
still
viable.
alive.
The
assessment of
Oregon
the
State
or
baby's
Medical
homicide.
condition.
Examiner's office said that the baby,
After an autopsy,
then
we
still at
determined
OHSU,
that the baby was
was
still
still
born.
born.
Portland Police Bureau
Around this
spokesman says
time,
the police bureau did not report the baby's death to the public
personnel
because the
informed me
agency
that
was
they
still
were
waiting
trying
for
to
clarity on the
find
cause of
life-saving
death.
efforts on
Tried
the
to
Of
say
other
the
newborn.
child
causes,
disputed that
Police
conclusion.
would
The
investigate.
newborn was pronounced dead at 0641 hours.
To say a couple of words about investigating in this piece. Thank you so much to the readers for their inquiry. They've spent several hours working on this script and finding the nuances within it. I just want to share with you as an audience, this was all verbatim language lifted from Facebook and from an article from the Willamette Week. As consumers of information and ideas, journalism in 2017, I think it's an interesting comment to notice that oftentimes we read comments about a situation before we read about the situation itself. And so this play features 19 different voices from strangers, absolute strangers to me, who I just plucked from the void and put on the page. So I hope that you see those different cacophonous relationships, and I'd really love your feedback during the time when we leave the performance space. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feelings about what I've shared here. It's an experimental piece. If one of you wants to hold up your script, maybe it's a landscape, and you can see it's very unusual the way that it's laid out, but they went for it, so hats off to them.